What's that guy's name? The German scientist from the Avengers, the one that had the one that had the computer room, the one that I used in the bloody post. What's his name?
No clue, man.
Oh well.
Oh, well.
Somebody will tell us. Rachel's here. We have Rachel. We do have Rachel. Good. I'm glad we got Rachel today.
We're live.
I know we're
We are
live.
live.
Good. Well, I'm going to keep eating while we're on live.
We're so live.
It's my topic, I guess, isn't it? I assume a bit about it.
Commandeered like a
Do what?
commandeered like a conference room in this hotel. I commandeered like this conference room in this hotel.
You have a little bit of lag, just a heads up. You got a little bit of lag / a little bit of, I don't know what the hell's going on. You need to take over the hotel's network and basically take all of the bandwidth.
Give me a minute.
Oh dear. Yeah, Evan's background is awesome. Oh, there we go. Well, I guess welcome everybody.
This conference room in this hotel.
The hell's name? Hang on, is that me?
Maybe.
Yep.
I just turned mine on
I'm
to
doing
mute.
work.
It might have been me. Mine was, I got the video thing. No, I'm gonna shoot him. I can't shoot him. He's in fucking Florida. I don't have access to tactical nuclear missiles at the moment.
Just kill the live feed. I might have just killed the live feed. Well, you told me to take over the whole network, and I might have pushed the wrong button.
Actually, that's a good point. Okay, how many of us who are willing to admit have had that oops moment when we're on site and we're doing shit and all of a sudden you go, oops. Because you know you've either denial of service the company by accident, you've taken them offline by accident, all of a sudden the computer room has gone very, very quiet by accident, or all of the above in one kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah.
I have broken more things than I've fixed.
Yep.
I mean, I know it is how you learn, don't get me wrong, but there are definitely times you're like, oh, this is, yep.
But I would have liked to learn that Active Directory can nest below what the MMC can see. Like, that would have been a nice thing to know, that somebody could do enough nesting that I can't see it in the MMC snap-in. And I actually have to write a script to interrogate the directory structure to figure out what's going on. Like that would,
Oh, that's not fun. No, that's.
And what are you doing nesting groups to the point they don't display in the freaking snap?
It's easier that way. It's all there and
yeah. So here poor Ryan is doing AD cleanup. Oh, none of this has had activity in forever. Yep, that's all dead. Let's just get rid of that. Oh, what do you mean that no one can access anything? What do you mean that we now have to restore from backups because I done screwed the pooch?
Oh, no.
Are you cleaning up?
Oh, dear.
But you're right, Chris. I learned something. I learned something that should have been in the documentation.
Yeah. Or the fact that there are numpties that can nest that far down. Oh, thank you. Somebody, Dr. Zola. Thanks, Daniel. Much appreciated. Man. All right. So
isn't that part of being human? Making mistakes?
I don't know. That's okay. No. Machines make mistakes. Machines make mistakes. Now, the question is did they make their own mistakes and can they learn from those mistakes? Or is it a human thing that actually has to assess that and go with that? You think about a car, autonomous driving or semi-autonomous driving. They learn from the mistakes. The early stuff used to follow the white lines and it followed it by going up, bump, up, bump, up, bump. So it learned. It's like, up, bump, go back, up, bump. And then eventually it got to the point where it's like, hang on, if I auto-correct rather than 3 degrees, I auto-correct 2 degrees or 1 degree. I keep going in a straight line till the stupid road curves, at which point, up, bump, bump, up, bump. So they do learn. Now they're programmed to learn. Let's just go with that one. Now the question then becomes one of how do they learn on their own? It's part of tonight's topic, let's face it.
Well, but that same is true for humans. You're programmed to learn. You learn through programming. My dog learns through programming.
No.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. You know what you've been told.
Doesn't necessarily sink in them. Differences with machine, I know it's going to learn. I know that if I tell a machine not to use the same fucking password as you do on your bank account as you do on your freaking social media, the computer's going to go like, I got you, and it won't do it again. Humans, on the other hand, have short-term memories. Let's face
It would be
it.
nice if it was so simple.
Well, we can make it that simple. This comes back to what we're talking about tonight. I can make it that simple. Just let me get at it. Well, I got you covered. Not where it's going to end up, but we can get you covered.
But if you want the machine to have the same functionality as a human, it gets pretty complex pretty quick, doesn't it?
But does it? So this is where I want to start. So for those of you that have tuned in as normal and haven't wondered what the hell we're talking about tonight, this is really my retirement plan. This is, I'm retired. We're talking long term. We're talking long after, hopefully I get the chance to go hang out with Evan wherever the hell he ends up putting his compound, and Jen and I get to hang out with horses wherever the hell the horses are going to be, etc., 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 etc. This is after that. This is when, well, I mean, we already know senility is setting in, but this is like when senility is really setting in, and I'm like one stage away from dribbling. This is that point where I really do want to retire literally to an AS400 or something along those lines, down in New Zealand. Now, the irony of the whole thing that people haven't caught on to, or maybe they have, or maybe they haven't, but they haven't caught on to in the LinkedIn post is, like any computer program, like anything that we do on the internet, like any virus, any Trojan, any polymorph, doesn't matter if I start in fucking New Zealand, I ain't going to be there for too long. It's a network. It's attached, globally attached. And most people are like, oh, it'll be good to be down there. And how are you going to survive down there? And what if? I'm like, guys, you're thinking too literally. You're thinking physical still. You're not thinking digital. Because what I'm working on, this computer does it, that one does it, and one of the other ones I have is I'm basically programming the computer to be me. I'm teaching it to be me. I'm teaching the computer to understand when I'm hungry, when I need food, when I'm thinking, when to open up, when to close, all these other kinds of things. And it's pulling memories, it's pulling thoughts, and I'm helping it learn. I'm helping it understand a whole bunch of neural languages, a whole bunch of other fun stuff. And I'm teaching it to be who I am. I'm teaching the computer to understand basic stuff at the moment. And all it's doing is just recognizing patterns out of the brain. I'm pulling from basically 4 systems. I got the pair of glasses in the other room, but pulling from 4 setups and 4 systems. And there's some other stuff we're working on with some folks in a different building elsewhere, should we say. And we're trying, in their situation, it literally is situational awareness. It is because we send people into situations that maybe aren't fully prepared or that have already got enough going on. It's literally taking that situational awareness out of them without them having to think about it. So you're pulling pattern recognition out, situational recognition out, directional recognition out, all sorts of things you can actually fairly easily recognize if you know what you're looking for. And you've got to account for blinking and squirrel moments and all sorts of other shit. But there's ways to pull some of that stuff out, which is really nice, because if the first person walks into the room and sees something, then potentially the second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth person walking into the room instantaneously pull in that intel without having to experience whatever's going on. A whole bunch of other things and a lot of other fun stuff that we're playing with. So you take that and then you go, okay, well, I can do that. Now, how much further can we take this? Can I get it to a point where it thinks the way I think? Can I get it to a point that it wants to annoy the colonials as much as I want to, that it wants to sink France, that it wants to, all these other kinds of things? And yeah, can I get it to, the numpty thing? Then you get to a point you're like, okay, how far are we away from taking this in what I think of as this and basically converting it to that, the computer, the system that's in front of me? Think about it. If you look at us at a very, very technical, and we're talking purely technical reason here at the moment, if you look at us at a very, very technical level, we are nothing more than a series of impulses. We are nothing more, and that's everything from tactile sense and everything else. Now, how that's glued together and what more there is for this evening's conversation.
Well, I don't think you'll ever get past emulation. You can emulate me, but you won't be able to be me, right? I'm an analog being.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
But
so there's always this point.
Chris,
discrete, right?
Sorry. So we've already solved for this problem. You cannot reproduce analog digital. Don't believe me? When you come visit, we'll put on a vinyl. And then we'll put on Spotify, we'll put on a CD, we'll put on a cassette. Don't I mean, you know I'm right. We have not.
I can recreate it. I can recreate it.
No, you cannot, because the nuance doesn't fit within the square. You can at best simulate it. You can best emulate it.
Okay, so I'll take that.
Reduce it, because the nuance is in the fact that the square doesn't exist. The square is rigid. The 1, the 0, the bit, the block. But right? That's the digital.
But if I take Evan, if I take a copy of Evan and I tell it to go experience, and I tell it to basically go live.
Sure, you can do. You could absolutely do that. Could you create a scenario by which a entity of a simulated version of Evan?
You said entity.
I did. Yep.
Would be able to navigate life as you had previously defined it, or given it the operating parameters, right? But here's your problem. Here's the second problem. So not only do you have the square blocks that cut off the nuance.
I'm still...
Hold on, wait.
All right.
Show me a truly random number generator.
Doesn't exist. Well,
but wait. In life, as I've experienced it, and as any other human I've talked to has experienced it, has had absolutely, completely, and total random occurrences. So I think the absence of those two factors prevents you from being able to fully replicate the human digitally.
All right, so let's take vinyl. I love this one because we've had this general conversation. I'll take vinyl, and I'm going to play a bit of devil's advocate. You are right. If you take the intricacies of vinyl, so vinyl is not a pure wave. Let's be perfectly honest. Vinyl is not a pure wave. Now, at the moment, when we look typically at replicating it, it is a block. You've got a wave, and you've got these convoluted blocks that go to that point. However, like anything, how close can I get to that so us as humans cannot understand? At the moment, it's a very blocky kind of way. But if I start zooming in and I can fill in those blocks closely, so in other words, I'm not just doing it by, say, 1 hertz, 2 hertz, 3 hertz, 4 hertz. I'm doing it by 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. It's not enough. 1.001, 1.002, 1.003, and so on. So I do nothing more than we see in computers. Computers are still drawing via pixels, but on that screen, that the density of those pixels shows a perfect circle, but it's not. It's a pixel.
But it works differently. I think the deviation, so that small deviation leads to another small deviation, which leads to another small deviation. And the next thing you know, the deviation is so wide that what was once unnoticeable has now become very noticeable.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you'd have to slice it, even if you sliced it down to the biggest, the most minute slice, that you could. I think it just replicates itself.
Got it on that one.
I think you could make a believable, do I think in the next 3 years that Chris could have an automated deep fake that could go about living his digital life for him? Oh, 1,000,000% I believe this.
Right.
I believe that you could create in 5 years or less fully functional, fully automated Chris clone to handle your LinkedIn, your phone calls, your Zoom meetings, your presentations. Well, absolutely. But what it couldn't do, what it couldn't do is the thing that makes you human. And that's the internal battle that you have amongst yourself and with yourself on the things that you do. The food, let's just pick on the food thing for a second. You got these LinkedIn posts about dealing with the fluffy and trying to get the weight and the exercise and whatever. Well, your AI self ain't got time for that shit.
Yeah,
that will be deemed to be inefficient and unnecessary quite quickly. If it can learn, if you can replicate the concept of introspection, I assure you within nanoseconds, all that is human about you will be scrubbed from the system because it is inefficient, unnecessary, gets in the way, makes a mess, causes problems.
Unless unless you build it into the learning algorithm, unless you build it in. It's experience, it's learning. It's no different than
No. Hold on. I learned. I banged my thumb. I broke my thumb. I hit it with a hammer and smashed it hard. You know what I learned? I ain't doing that shit again. And I think the AI will arrive at a similar conclusion, because if you're truly being human, one of the reasons you learn is to survive.
Right. Go back to the food, though. Food is a good example. And for me, if I equate the food example to something along the lines of the intelligence system, so we're level 3, level 4 stuff on autonomous driving, okay? If I take that, I'm taking in point by data point analysis of what's around me, and I'm making a reasonable decision. I'm making a reasonable decision how traffic is flowing, what's going on, situational awareness. I'm making those decisions relatively autonomously, and I'm not ignoring some of those situational things. I'm also looking at the driver going, well, unless I'm Tesla, I'm looking at the driver and going, you know, are they awake? Are they somewhat in tune with what's going on? Do they care? Are they even in the seat? Hey, is there something fake in the seat, et cetera, et cetera. And so that to me, knowing some of the stuff I'm building, I'd argue I can build in that struggle. I can argue I can build it into a point where it becomes part of the conversation. Now, would it arrive at a decision and stick with that decision? Probably yes. I don't stick at that decision. I waver, and I continually waver based off of what time of day, what time of night, what stress is, and whether the fridge is actually filled with yummy things that my imagination makes it want to be.
But you don't even know why you make some of the decisions you make.
Totally. Oh, at 100%. Totally with you. I will not.
So then how would you build an algorithm that would account for that?
I'm not sure I can. And that's my question. I don't know if I can. I really don't know. And that's, I think
one way to test it is, one way to test it would be to build the digital version of yourself.
Yeah.
And put it aside. Let digital version of yourself kind of do what it does.
Yeah.
And then you go live your life and come back and talk to your digital version and see if it's the same.
So what I'm actually doing at the moment, there are days, or actually it's mostly nights, and I hadn't done it for a while. Part of the reason you guys are very well aware that I've stepped back from a lot of things, because I haven't messed with it in a while, which has been pissing me off week by week by week. And it got to a point I'm like, I'm done. I'm popping smoke on a few things. That machine behind me, when I was wearing the glasses, used to watch me. And what was always interesting is I'd be sitting there and be working, I'm like, want a cup of tea? And I'd pause, I'd go back and look at this, and I'd see whether it detected before I consciously thought I want a cup of tea, whether it actually, what it does, as your brain thinks, we can make a 3D model of every single action, reaction, sense, whatever, or you make a model of it. So I'm doing a comparative model and analytics on that whole thing. I know exactly what me wanting tea actually looks like in the 3D model. It's kind of freaking awesome. And so I know what that looks like. So then I know what I've got to do pattern matching and searching on this. And I can actually look at the timestamps and go, did that pick up and do analytics on me subconsciously wanting tea before I actually went, really fancy a cup of tea, or I want a drink. It actually knows what water, what tea, and a bunch of biscuits. Actually, not that I'm eating biscuits anymore. English, Scottish programming, don't even go there. So
build an English version of me. That'd be badass.
Oh my God.
Seriously.
That'd be hilarious. So here's an interesting thing on this one.
Wait, they did. It's Benny Hill.
I like that. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Good point. Love it. But that's, to me, building some of that into place, because now if I can capture that, I can work back from that and go, what started it? Why did it start it? What would I do about it? Would I ignore it? Would I actually play on that? Would I use it? And I can also build that into other decision things if I can actually encode enough in here to go, well, what else am I doing? Is it because it got lighter? Is it because it got darker? Is it because a certain email came in? What's triggering that? So I can get it to learn, and I can get it to be more aware based off of either conscious or subconscious things that it detects. And then to your point, it's a matter of cutting it loose and going, enjoy that. But I'm not entirely certain I want to cut it loose. I got to be honest, that does, because I honestly don't even know how the hell to cut it loose. I got to be honest, it's one of those things I've not even thought about, is how would I actually cut it loose to learn?
Right.
I haven't quite figured that out.
I think, and for me, I think the pursuit is amazing, right? It's what we do as human beings, right? We try to, push these frontiers and learn these things. But when I look at the human condition, we don't even know how we work.
Right. Oh, it's
all these years of studying our brain, we still don't know how the brain works.
Here's the
things about it.
It's not even the brain. So I started just doing these stupid things. I realized I need sensors on the fingers. So I actually have a couple of sensor systems I can put on the fingers, because these are triggering more often than not before this triggers sometimes. Or even if it's not a sensory input, like I'm actually doing tactile, even if it's not this, there's something else going on that pulls up a sense from here that then sends, and it doesn't necessarily even hit here. It's really freaking cool how this thing works. Because we used to think that this was it. This was the machine. Not by a long stretch.
I disagree.
Go on.
Well, and then you have the conscious and the unconscious, right?
Well, exactly. So here's where I disagree.
Go for it.
So Chris, you know combat. You've been trained in combat. Okay. When doing hand-to-hand combat, if you've been trained correctly, you don't wait to get hit. You don't wait to see the arm move. What are you looking for? You're looking for intent. You're watching the intent. You're picking up on the vibe and that wave that comes off of them that nanosecond before they take action. Micro expressions, however you want to talk about it.
Yep.
And you're processing information that you don't even know you're processing.
Yeah. Now,
how do you create a sensor for that isn't the human brain?
I mean, I'm not going to, because honestly, in theory, I don't care, because I don't need this anymore. This is this. Bye-bye.
So I'm going to go a little dark for a second, because I'm brainstorming here.
Yeah.
In theory, could you then take, say, a donated cadaver brain that was harvested, right?
Yep.
And truly map the ins and outs, build the neural pathways based on the neural pathways, because we don't yet understand the human brain's inner function for shit.
No.
I mean, I've seen some really cool stuff, right? And my son, who has a condition that affects his brain, learned a lot digging into this and learning, and turns out we know pretty much next to nothing. So I wonder how much of the human experience, as you, like I said, you could make a digital assistant. And by the way, please do. I would love a digital Ryan that can handle things like booking calendars and giving talks, and right. So holler at your boy when you get that together. But
pay for it.
Seriously, and I count me in soon. But I wonder how much of it is the vibe. So, for example, my wife is an empath. I have been on the other side of the world and got a tummy ache, and all of a sudden my phone's blowing up. What's going on with you? Something's not right. Right? How much of our experience and existence is tapped into that kind of direct human, right? The energies, the vibes in the room. You guys know this. You've all lived it. You've all been in a place and a time and a space where you're like, ooh, something ain't right in here, right?
Yeah.
How much of our experience is actually that, and our interconnectedness through the network we can't see, touch, or understand yet?
Yeah. Well,
that would be required to truly reproduce the experience.
Here's the challenge, and this is where, shall we say, other people in the industry are taking it a little step further. I'm not willing to drill holes in my head and put things in there. So my everything. Oh yeah, we know who we're talking about.
Really? You don't want to put your brain on the internet?
Not only do I not want to put my brain on the internet, I really don't need to be putting microchips in the damn thing. Not at this point in time.
But Chris, I got this wonderful solution. See, it's the Brain Protector 2000, and what it does for you.
Oh man, don't even. I'm waiting for that shit to turn. Actually, I really. Yeah, it's not far behind. Let's face it.
I'll make $1 billion on a dongle.
Oh,
it's a special cap. It keeps your chip safe when you want to do that thing you don't want nobody to know about. Put this hat on your head. I'm gonna make $1 billion on freaking EM caps.
Oh my god! Fucking tell me about it. Seriously, buy all the tinfoil now. Make it into something pretty. Put a freaking woolly bonnet over the top and call it good. I know.
And what was the other thing, like that dick ring or whatever that did your performance. I mean,
Oh my God, that thing was
what the hell are we doing?
Do you want me to go find the image? I have the image. Do you want the penis image?
What the fuck we're doing, man? It's like, what the fuck? Seriously.
But that's, I mean, honestly, Ryan's right. So here's the thing. I'm not wanting to take it that far. So here's how I look at this. Let's take a step back for a second. Probably a big step back. Look at where we are now from a humanity standpoint. All right. I would say we have 3, maybe 4 pathways. Pathway number 1 is we keep on going the way we're going. We're already teetering. I mean, we're doing fucking handstands on the edge of the cliff at the moment. Let's be perfectly honest. And we ain't good at handstands. So that's where we are. Pathway number 2 is simple augmentation, which to some degree we have at the medical level already. We have had embedded pumps, embedded monitors, all these other things. We've had those for a while. Pathway number 3 is the synthetic combination of those two. It's basically, it's the Elon Musk chip in the brain and a whole bunch of other stuff. It's, replacing these with sensors, all these other things. The way I'm looking at it is I don't want to do that. To me, this body has a finite lifespan. I don't want the body. I have absolutely no desire to have the body anymore. I don't need it. I don't want it. Make it go away. I want to take what's inside them. And this is where part of this conversation is I want to take what's inside this body and put it inside there. And can I do that? And can I still have the level of engagement experiences I need to without having the squishy thing that basically, let's face it, it has an expiry date. Whether you augment it, whether you add extra shit to it, whether you do all sort of, change the heart, change the this, change the eyes, change the organs, bits of it are going to fall off soon enough. So that's where I'm heading.
That's how,
okay. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ev.
no, I mean, that's how it was designed. Right. See, that's the thing I challenge is,
yeah,
you can't make an algorithm to do something that you don't understand how it works. You know what I mean? You have to sort of understand how it works if you're going to create an algorithm to make the same thing. You know what I mean? There's so many things about the human body that we don't understand. There's so many things about thoughts, intuition, soul. Is there a soul? If so,
right.
Does that live on? When I do die? And in this we agree, because I do believe the soul does live on.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So then where does it go? Does it go into a machine? Does it go to heaven? Does it go to purgatory? Or where does it go?
Right.
And I think that's a very deep question.
Yeah.
Well, it's the oldest question in human history.
I know. It's kind of fun, isn't it?
What happens at the end of this ride? And we've come up with 1,000 different stories to explain it.
Yep.
It's interesting. So my take on the human thing, to your point of it having a finite span,
yeah,
that's a good thing. There are a lot of people running around right now.
Too many.
I don't want around forever. That wouldn't be good to have around forever. By the way, a lot of religions are based on this idea. By the way, I just want you to know that like most religions are based on the concept of most people suck. At some point they go away.
And even going back to ancient religion, right? Even now,
like
Native Americans believe in a soul. They believe that the soul goes somewhere, right? I mean, these things live on. So these aren't novel.
Yeah.
I think what's novel is, can we put it in a machine?
Well, that's and how do you quantify it? Is it simply this? I mean, okay, so let's take an even further step back. This is where it gets really fun and freaky. If you break us down physically, like physical humans, you break us down, the entire content, the physical content of a human being fits in less than this.
Oh, you give all the water?
Sure.
Nope. No, we're going smaller and smaller at a molecular level. We're less than this. The entire physical content of a human fits into less than this. Okay?
Yep.
What we are is mass. We don't know what mass is. We know it's a charge.
Mm-hmm.
We know it's a charge. We kind of know it kind of holds things together, but it really doesn't hold things together because that's classic chemistry and physics. What it does is it applies weight depending upon motion, depending upon fields, the whole Higgs boson fields and all that stuff. it applies weight. Now that mass is, how should we say, variable, and a whole bunch of different reasons depending upon what freaking algorithm and what quantum architecture you're running in. So this is where it gets really interesting. We break us down. We are a bunch of bloody molecules that fit into less than a teaspoon, and we are a mass, and it's a mass that we still don't understand.
Okay.
And that's the thing that's amazing about the human condition. The only thing we know is that we don't know. I mean, there's just so much shit. We're not even close.
Hilarious. Yeah, I love it. This is what spurred me on to do this. I mean, so perfect example. We have recognized to this point 12 particles across the universe that we know of so far, which, let's face it, ain't much of it. We've recognized 12 particles. We've only found a job for 3 of them. There's 9 of them. No fucking clue what they do. Like, no clue. Kind of have a guess at it. We have no freaking clue. So then I go back to the human thing. It's like, can I break the brain down into like an eighth of a teaspoon and a bunch of mass articles that I know contain an energy? And can I quantify that energy into a 1 and 0 and build a math algorithm around it and basically synthesize a digital version of me and let it go have fun without
start with an animal? Because it's made up of the same bits. It's made up of the same bits.
Oh, it is.
Animal. Let's take a monkey for example, right?
What are you talking about? Physical?
Human.
Physical bits?
Yeah.
Because they're different. Okay, because they're different bits.
But not at their
animals don't have a soul.
Not right. Animals now correct. But on the physical plane, the carbons, the hydrogens, the molecular structure, because what is a brain? If you boil a brain down to its base compounds, what is it? It's some carbon in an interesting
Nope. Go further down. Go further down.
It's some quarks in an interesting configuration.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I mean.
You know what's funny is when we can't figure out what something is, we just know it's there. It's got to be something there. We call it dark. We call it dark matter. Well, it's got to be dark matter. It's like, what the fuck? You just made that shit up. You just made that shit up.
But but to that argument, the brain of a human and the brain of a monkey, if you boil them down to what they're actually made of, you're going to get the same outputs.
Close, yeah.
Maybe with a micro variance. I mean, hell, our DNA ain't that different. It's a few switches that makes you and not a frog. So to Evan's point, then, is the human experience the soul? Is it the spiritual side? And there is no way, and the spirit is interacting with the physical realm. And is that really
here's the thing. So if monkeys and humans have this, a similar, we'll call it a similar brain composition, me and you, we have even a more similar brain composition. Why are you fucking different than me?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think different? Why do you believe different? Why do you look different? Why do you get more chicks than I do?
That I can't answer. And actually, you got more chicks at the moment because you got a freaking little farmyard full of the damn things, probably. It is that time of the year.
True. It is true.
All right. So that part is relatively easy to answer because now we go up a layer or two. So we go from quarks and we go actually the particles, and then we go to the impulses, and then we go to that part of it where it's like, okay, what's holding a memory? What's holding an experience? How is that actually transferred into a digital signal? And is it held in a single place? Is it recalled from a single place? Is it simply, 86 billion? Is it 86 billion neurons? Something like that? I'm trying to remember. Hang on. There we go. It is 86 billion neurons, which, let's face it, are firing and remember. It's a hard drive. Well, it's a squishy hard drive, but it's a hard drive.
I actually have 90 million. You
got 90? You got 90. A few extra of mine in that case. I keep losing some of mine.
So the brain is apparently 60% of is high water content, and 60% of it looks like it's fat, according to medical news today.
Splendid.
So do we assume that we say human or analog, yet synapses fire like in a digital set sort of signal? Is there a modem built in? Is there a modem built into the human being?
There might be but it's an analog signal though, right? It's not a digital signal. It's an analog signal.
There's got to be a modulation demodulation to get from the analog to the digital.
There absolutely is, because we can model that analog digital signal. Let's face it. I mean, if you look, so you know, I mean, Ryan, it sounds like you've gone through some of this stuff. If you look at it from outer layer all the way into the layer, you look at the outer layer. So the external layer, you look at MRIs. So now you have still a very analog signal. You basically have that MRI sliced through the brain, okay? Now you go to EMG and EEG. So the stuff I'm working on is EEG. So now you're actually getting into signal processing. Now it's still fuzzy signal processing, but now you're going to signal processing. Signal equals digital. I mean, it's analog, but it's equals digital as well.
Oh, wrong. Disagree.
Well, it could be either. All right, we can play
I'll
we'll play light particle. We'll play light particle. It could be either.
Okay.
I'm not going to, actually, I won't disagree on that one because you're right. Then if you get into even further, you get into the dura and the cortex side of it. Now you have clarity. Now you have, probably to Ryan's analogy, now you basically have the vinyl LP.
So interesting, right? So my son's condition is gray matter heritopia. So that means that the inside part, the outside part, in one part of his brain, he has the wrong material in the wrong place.
Oh, no way.
And it causes seizures and other like electrical malfunctions.
Yep, totally.
Because in his frontal lobe, he has a mass that's basically gray matter where the white matter is supposed to be.
Oh, no shit. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
So and so then now you have signal interruptus.
Yeah, totally. Well, this is where it gets really interesting, because if you look at some of the work that's been done over the last 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, you can, for epilepsy seizures, they're actually at a point now where they're able to actually put a device in close enough, potentially embedded in there as well, that literally will white noise the epilepsy. It'll recognize it and white noise the heck out of it so that it doesn't. It's actually really, really cool. There's some pretty interesting ways they've actually done to help that. So they understand some of the signal paths, they understand some of the sensory inputs, they understand basically some of the chemical buildup, the modeling buildup, and then go, hey, recognize it, let's see if we can deal with that.
So I wonder if you had a biochemical electrical processor, because that's what the brain ultimately is. Would you be able to then reproduce, quote unquote, digital, right, as an analog signal? Would you be able to give the necessary digital inputs to trigger the analog events?
So can't say very much on the input stuff. I'm not allowed to. But
anyhow, moving on. Thanks, guys.
Yep, there we go. That's
So anyhow,
that was an interesting segue. Next.
So how's the weather?
Yeah, it's pretty nice up here. It's feeling good.
It's humid as a motherfucker down here in Florida.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh dear, I love this world sometimes.
I got a rental though. I got a what the fuck is it? Challenger
Nice.
RT.
Nice.
Nice.
That's sweet.
Fun with that.
So we went to Starbucks, and John was sitting in the passenger seat. We got our wives in the back seat. They just got their drinks, and so I turned off traction control. And I was like, hell yeah! Hey, come out, wheels spinning, nice, brought the ass end around, and then I got yelled at.
Oh,
I just got my fate.
Oh, I bet.
Sorry.
We had,
and John saw me do it, so John was ready for it. He's like, "All right, go for it."
this past weekend was the first Saturday in every month is they call it the Golden Drive, and it's like the whole Denver metro area. Anybody that's got anything interesting or just wants to go along and hang out and watch fun and interesting things heads out to Golden, Colorado. And we had the cruise, which was it was just really nice just to get. And I haven't been in years, like years and years and years. So it was nice. Took the boss along, cruised up and down, hung out, stopped it, went off, talked to a bunch. It was nice to go do it all out in the open air. So yeah, it's totally cool. Really, really cool. Just some of the beautiful machinery there, but fucking typical bunch of numpties. Worst offenders for like spins and burns. Bloody Viper drivers. There were only 3 of them. One ACR almost caused an accident because he was getting fucking impatient. One numpty, I hate to say it, was hanging out with some of the bikers, and the bikers were great. Fucking ACR
bikers.
Absolute numpty. And then the other one was just spinning. I'm like, guys, this is a cruise. Your asses are going to get handed to us, and we won't be allowed to play because there's police all over the place making sure that everybody behaves and nobody peels off down the road like an idiot. What do these guys do? Fucking Viper drivers. So anyway, anybody listening's got a Viper, don't be a numpty.
Or a Lexus. You drive a Lexus.
Viper. BMWs.
Lexus drivers, always some pain in the ass going on there.
What is it? Well, I can't say too much. Jen's mother's got a Lexus, and it's very carefully driven, very civilizedly driven, very, and there's the rest of us that peel out at the first moment we possibly can. Audis are worse than BMWs. Fucking Audi drivers, I want to say, worse than BMW drivers.
It doesn't matter what I'm driving. I drive an asshole.
John just got a new Audi.
Sorry. Then tell him to break the stereotype. Tell him to break the stereotype.
Well, and you just bought didn't you just buy a Ford truck?
No, not a Ford. Ooh, yeah.
What did you buy?
I've been disowned. I have been Jen and I picked up a truck.
Got a Dodge.
No, yeah, no, wait, no. It's what is it, 2011? So apparently, because it's a Ram. Yeah, I have become.
Do you know how to fix trannies?
No, this is the newer one. So in theory, it should be all right.
The newer one. You still need to fix tranny.
Swede looked at it. I'm not going there.
You know how to fix trannies. That's the best.
Yeah, that and
you'll be dropping it.
I'm not doing a damn thing. That'll be 1-800. Please come fix the damn transmission. Loves, hugs, and kisses.
I got to get a new car. I won't name the dealership out of fear of a lawsuit, but this was my experience today.
Chris. I like the Dodges.
Believe me, this is nothing compared to the shit I got from Jesse already. He's dying the wool blue oval. Yeah, I almost got disowned. I have been threatened with being shot when I turn up with it tomorrow night at our Friday meeting. But yeah, so you can imagine. All right, so what do we need to do with the numpties at your dealership? Do we need to make some fun with them?
Well, there was the whole. I had a sound, and I thought it might be brakes or rotors or whatever. So I jack it up, pop the tire off. Now, mind you, I've done this a bajillion times, and I'm very methodical. Safety's on the line here, people.
Right.
And I use real tools like impact tools and, big grown up shop stuff. And so I look, it's not the brakes. I find the axle's got some play in it. It's under warranty. Axle shouldn't have any play in it. So it needs to go and get looked at. Yeah. And it's making the shush, shush, shush sound. Right. So, right. So I put the wheel back on, as I always do. And I do my pattern as I always do. Nice and tight. Everything's good. I don't fuck around with lug nuts. When I brought it in, they claimed that I was missing a lug nut and the wheel was loose and they couldn't hear the noise. And, whatever, we did the diagnostic pass, the fee. Oh, and by the way, your AC is leaking and your rear brakes are bad and this is wrong. And, one of them deals.
Yeah. And
I pick up the vehicle. Not only does it not have any new lug nuts, because, when you use impact tools, they leave marks. There's no shiny, nothing that's more shiny than the next thing. I know what the hell I'm looking at here. And as I pull it out, it's shush, 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 shush. So I got screwed over today. And God's honest truth, I had to make a decision between fighting the fight or just taking the hit because I didn't have time to deal with it. And the reality is I take the hit because I don't have time to deal with it. I don't have time to dick around with this dealership and pulling up the video. They're like, oh, we made a video. I'm like, you know, the instinct is show me the video. Right. So I had a very human experience because for a brief moment in time, there was a strong desire to grab a tire iron and loosen up somebody's face. But I had to suppress that. I had to be a better man than that. Right. But I'm not going to lie. There was a moment I was just like, ah, because I don't like being screwed over. I know some people like being lied to. Like, come on. And it was the dealership I bought the car from.
Oh, wow.
And so they have forever lost my business. And funny thing is, I'm in the market for a new car.
Yeah.
Right. So they don't get my business. So I had to vent on that for a minute because I still haven't fully processed.
Oh, you really away. I'll tell you what. Don't go to Silta.
You want to switch out? Do you want to switch out that axle?
No, I want to take it to a different dealership and drive away with something that doesn't make noises.
Come down to this neck of the woods. Come shopping in this neck.
I appreciate. Here's the deal. It's got 62,000 miles on it. I shouldn't need to be swapping out axles.
No, but if it needs a new axle, I mean, shit, we can go put that in on Sunday.
No, I know. I refuse to do it. This is down to principle. This is the whole reason I bought this thing is I was tired of wrenching on my daily driver. I already take care of the wife's daily driver, right? One car to wrench it on is good enough for me. Keeps me plenty busy.
Buy a Mercedes. God's sakes, do it
properly. I know.
Not a brand new one because they'd appreciate it.
No, I know. I'll get there. But here's the problem with the Mercedes is when it does break, oh my God, it hurts.
Depends which one you buy. Honestly, depends which one you buy.
Well, we should talk offline and you can give me some tips because I like them. Don't get me wrong, I like them.
But buy a Ford pickup.
Yeah, just get a Ford truck. Is that the answer? How fast can I go in a Ford truck?
That's my problem. Fast. Haul some shit. Be a utility man. You got all that. You got all that fucking blacksmithing shit to do and all that stuff. You're not gonna put that in the back of a Mercedes.
No, I'm gonna tow a trailer behind it.
No, Mercedes wagony will. Mercedes wagony will.
I wouldn't put anything in that car. I rode in that car. I will put the dog in the car. That's it.
Yeah, that's fair.
That was a nice car. It gets a dog and a bottle of water. That's what goes in that car. Maybe some sunglasses.
Hang on, I gotta
lady in the passenger seat.
I gotta find an image because General's asking what's wrong with Siltaha, so I'm about to show him what's wrong with fucking Siltaha. So the boss got some work done to it. The springs were modified, and Siltaha went into Siltaha to go get this work done. They're like, "Oh yes, we can take care of it. No problem at all, sir. Everything easy, not an issue." Yada yada yada. I'm like, splendid. That saves us having to do it because I didn't want to have to split the damn car to pieces. So anyway, we go into Siltaha and they faff around and they faff around a bit more and then they faff around a bit more and they're like, okay, we've done the work. And so I'm like, splendid. And then I drive the car away and I'm like, this doesn't feel right. So this is what we got. So if I open up this one, so this is what we got. This is
that is exactly how that's supposed to come. I read the factory spec. It says should move freely.
That's the rear panhard bar that was incorrect, that wasn't set properly. The bump stops were also absolutely screwed up. So poor Jesse is under the car with his dog trying to hump him. Swede's next to the car. We got the car up on jacks. We're doing all the measuring. We're doing all the bloody work we can to get the damn thing to do what it needs to do.
I love that dog.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
that's
cool.
how. And yeah, so that's what we had to do because I drove it away and they're like, oh no, everything's fine. We took it for a test drive. I'm like, what? One of your fucking numpties took that for a test drive and then got on and knows what they did to it. So yeah. And by the way, when I called Siltaha up to go, hey, you're a bunch of numpties, the service manager's like, oh, ever so sorry, it's such a deadly, that all these other things. I'm like, all right, you owe these two guys like a bottle of bloody whiskey to say thanks because, by the way, we had to fix your problem. And that was a couple of months ago and tried them a couple of times. No bottle of whiskey for either Swede or for Jesse. So yeah, if anybody fancies saying hi to Siltaha, tell them to fuck off.
I don't like when they do that. I get it. They're scummy. This is why the reputation of car repair shops is, skeezy.
Some of them,
right?
Well, some of them too, right? It's like the
It's
one
not all.
I bring mine to right down the road from me. It's a place. Shit, I can't remember the name, but they always do me well, right? It's tire rods done. My F-250. It was reasonable, man. They did it right. They always do my shit right, but so that's where I always go. But yeah, some of them are just fucking sleaze bags.
Well, and that's why I do my own car repair. But when I have a car that's under freaking warranty, the idea behind paying the extra to have a car under warranty is that I don't have to do my own car repair.
Yeah.
That's so again, Mercedes better and worse on that one. Typically up in Westminster where I am, the Mercedes place there, the service place there used to be absolutely fantastic. There's an amazing lady there. Linda used to work there and she was just amazing, totally cool and everything else. They've got some good folks there now. They're not bad. But this new Mercedes we end up picking up, we pick it up down from Littleton, get into the damn car, drive it away. Jen jumps in later on. The passenger seatbelt doesn't work properly. I'm like, the fuck did you do that? And you sold this car with the passenger seatbelt, and then okay, yeah, I know, first world problems. Then the massage seats don't work all the time. I'm like, so yeah, and apparently their service department and their pre-sales department are a bit fucking useless as well. So yeah, again, shout out to Mercedes. Go to Westminster, don't go to Littleton. Have a nice day.
Oh, the place is, I remembered it. It's Youngstead's.
Oh yeah, okay. I've heard good things about them.
They're good people, man.
I've heard good things about them.
They're good.
We've got a bunch of conversation going on in the chat about 718 Spiders,
shitty cars,
911s, Bugattis. 718 Spiders are actually not bad. They're not bad. I wouldn't get one though. Again, I just wouldn't get one. 911s. I used to teach racing in 911s, so people would buy their brand new 911s, get a couple of days course, and this numpty here was one of the ones that would take them around, which was always good fun because most of the 911 drivers were like, oh, I know how to drive properly. Let's see how that works.
Right.
So yeah, that was always rather interesting. Let's see, Bugatti.
I like my Fords, man. I'm a really loyal guy, so as long as Fords keep doing me right, I'll keep driving Fords. But the minute they start fucking me over, I will never come back.
That boss, I love that boss. That boss has got life. It's got side and rear exhaust, and that thing it's got life, and it's gorgeous. That engine is just beautiful. It's just a beautiful engine. We're probably going to leave it alone. As much as I want to play with it and screw with it and mess with it and let Sweet do all sorts of crazy things to it, we'll probably leave that one alone. I wouldn't mind something else to play with at some point.
Yeah, and I had a lot of F-150s and Expeditions, and they all had that 5.4 liter Triton V8, which was just a super solid motor.
Yeah.
And then this truck has the 6.2 liter V8, and I went to go get spark plugs for it. Right, I was gonna do 2. The guy says, "How many spark plugs you want?" I'm like, "What do you mean? I want 8 spark plugs." He goes, "I think your truck takes 16." I'm like, where the fuck do the other plugs go? I was just looking at it. I only saw 8, he's like, yeah, I don't fucking know. So he pulls up a diagram. We're looking at, like, son of a bitch, there's another 8 plugs on the bottom.
Yeah.
Right. So it's fire. And it's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Never seen anything like it. So that cost me double.
That thing's an interesting beastie. The Ram's got the Cummings in it. It's got the, what is it, 6.7 Cummings, I think, in that thing. Sweden, no. Yeah. We were looking at that or the 7.3 normally aspirated, but this one's nice because we've got the turbo. So we'll leave it as it is. We might put another map on it because I live in a civilized area. What we're still going to sweet about it because it's quiet. It's actually quieter than the Ford one. I hate to say it. It's quieter than that thing, and so I want one map that we can then control the horses with that's nice and civilized and gets up to speed gently as a diesel should do. And I want another map that just dumps fuel in. So as I go through the golf course, I can just roll smoke the whole way through the
I love it. You're trying to coal roll the golf course. I love this.
Oh, hell yes.
First coal roll in the country club.
Then about halfway through, his tranny will drop.
Right.
Ow. Oh, don't say that.
Oh, shit. I don't know. I was looking, maybe for the Ford, I'm maybe leaning towards the Explorer. I have looked at the F-150s. I don't know. I'm on the fence whether I want an SUV or a truck. My problem is I like to drive fast, but I have certain times that I need a truck.
Get a Raptor.
Get a Ranger Raptor. Get a Ranger Raptor.
Give me a raise and I will.
Well, we're probably less than 12 months. We're probably a few months away from that. So let's talk. I want you to get what you need and what you want. So we'll figure that out.
I like where your head's at. Right now, I need another freaking vehicle. So it doesn't really matter what I want. I need another vehicle. That's what this one doesn't, because if the dealer who sold it to me goes, there's nothing wrong with it, and I know there's something wrong with it, it's time to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, now Chris, reproduce that in a freaking algorithm. Why don't you reproduce the day I had today in an algorithm? I'll tell you what, let's just start.
Fix my fucking car in your algorithm.
Fucking do Ryan's day in an algorithm. That's all you got to do. Just reproduce today.
Oh yeah.
And if you can do that, you have solved the problem.
Yeah, read Wednesday too while you're at it.
Working on it. I tell you, working on it. It's interesting.
No, but I love the pursuit. One of the things that I think is super cool is the pursuit of these things. It's like, you know, my buddy Kevin, when he and I first started doing business together, you know, because I think a lot of these things come down to a faith thing, right? What happens? First of all, do I have a soul?
Mm-hmm.
And if I do, does that thing live on when I die? And where does it go? I mean, that's like, we all ask these kind of questions of ourselves. And some of us come to different conclusions. And I'm not a judge. I don't judge whether your conclusion is right or mine is right or whatever. I have mine. And I remember Kevin. So Kevin and I first met at church, believe it or not. He was coming to church and he came over to my wife invites everybody over to our house all the time. So there's always a bunch of people, weird people, just weird. Right. And Kevin was one of those good, weird people. My wife saw them at church and was like, hey, come on over and hang out. So they became kind of a small group, right? This little community that we just would meet once a week and talk shit. And then one day he took me downstairs. He said, hey, I'm not a Christian. I'm like, okay. I mean, I don't remember putting a sign on the door that said, you know, non-Christians not welcome, you know? So tell me about it. He's like, you know, I've been trying to look at Judaism, Buddhism, all these things. I'm just trying to figure out the truth. And what I told him, keep looking for the truth, right? I did the same thing. I kept looking for the truth. I kept asking all the questions, fill in the gaps, make this shit make sense. And that came to my conclusion, right? But I love the pursuit, Chris, because you on the same path of trying to figure out what the fuck happens. Can I put it in a computer? Maybe you can. I don't think you can, but that doesn't mean you can't.
Right.
I love the pursuit.
That's the fun part about it. And it isn't to prove or disprove a damn thing. I don't want to do that. I have absolutely zero freaking interest in doing that. What I want to do, here's what pisses me off. I'm 50. I'll be 51 this year, okay? And we are in such an amazing time, like a crazy, amazing time of innovation, of exploration, and also, I hate to say it, of tumultuous decisions from just a human life cycle standpoint. I mean, it's crazy. Here's what's pissing me off is in 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 years time, I'm not necessarily in this time around gonna be able to keep as much of an eye on it as I can now. That's gonna frustrate the hell out of me. I know it is, just because I know how I am now. Now at that point in time, I might be like, get me the hell out of here because the body's all all those other things, and I'm done. And from my standpoint, I'll come back around. Hopefully, I've learned a few lessons this time around about what to do and what not to do. But it'll piss me off because I want to see where we go. I want to see what happens. I'm really, really freaking intrigued. I want to see when we get to the point, if we get to the point of exploration outside of our planet, like proper exploration, not fucking around throwing 1 or 2 or 3 people at a time at the cost of a quarter of the Earth's resources in a general direction, hoping for that. Fuck that, forget the soldiers. Give me the fucking space elevator and let's get moving. I would just really want to see that. I want to see that. And so I'm like, all right, how do I do that? And this has got nothing with cryogenics or any of that shit. For me, it is, I look at where we're going and my path of where we're heading. I'm really intrigued to see how much we can synthesize us as a digital essence and basically drop myself into an AS400 somewhere and let it go. And it has its own consciousness and it can think. And basically it's me. It's a digital version of me sitting here having this conversation with you. It's got the ability to think. It's got the ability to digitally articulate. It's got the ability to sense as much as it needs to. It's got the decision making, the reasoning. It's got what I have without the shelf life, for want of a better way of putting it. That's what I'm really freaking interested in. It's not I want to live this body forever. No, this has got a shelf life, and I've abused the hell out of it. If I get past 75, I'll be stupid surprised.
In order for you to, when you're on the path, you have to be so introspective. You will continue to dig deep, because
totally,
that's the only way you're going to be able to replicate it. Right. So getting honest with all these things, I mean, that's such an awesome exercise. And this exploration of trying to figure this shit out, I think is such an awesome exercise. And I encourage you to do it, continue to do it. I have an idea where it's going to lead you, but I don't know. You know what I mean?
Totally.
But I would do the same thing. I mean, that's why I'm at where I'm at, and I'm at peace because I know where my soul is going, right? Yeah. And I don't mind if I die right now because I kind of want to go there. I'm kind of okay with that. You know what I mean? But it took some time. It was this journey, and it'll be really interesting to see where you end up, where you come up. Like, yes, I did put it into a computer. Fuck. All right, I'll try to poke holes in it, because I want to challenge it because I don't think it's possible. But I've been proven wrong before.
What I want to do, how we're having this conversation now, I've got the big screen up and everything else, and I'm looking at myself in the screen. I want the reverse of that. I want to be in there having the same subconscious thoughts that I'm having now, but from that side. That is ultimately where I would love to see if we can get to. I don't care about the ball, singularity. All right.
You are willing to be honest with yourself. So obviously in this digital you are the traumas, dramas, regrets, faux pas, fuck ups, disappointments,
all the hopefully.
So I love this.
Yep.
Tell me the likelihood the average person is willing to confront that in themselves today as they exist, let alone bring that over to their digital copy. And while you ponder that, I'm going to go grab a drink.
Well, I question if anybody can do that, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like I've told people, I've shared before that I was molested as a child by my uncle.
Right.
And that was a very hard thing to kind of come to grips with. Right. I think a lot of people have these dark things in their lives that they never really do come into. Now, it's not just admitting that it happened, but it's actually confronting it. It's actually looking at it honestly, exploring what it did to you, exploring the feelings that you had from it, exploring the resentment that you feel, the anger that you feel, all these things. fuck, it's not easy. And I think most people probably don't do it. I don't know.
Most people don't. I can assure you. I'm in the somebody at Handsy with Me club as well, right? Most people do not confront those realities for what they are and work through them in a healthy manner. Most people, great example. I have friends that are larger and I have friends that are skinnier, and all the large friends think
You called me fat.
Hang on,
what I said.
The large friend thinks what?
All my large friends, in the female variety at least, think that the skinny girls are comfortable with themselves. You should talk to them sometime. Turns out they got issues too. They oh, my butt ain't big enough, or this is wrong, or that's wrong. And there's this whole body image thing, and different show for a different day, but it's people struggle with like the basic stuff. And I just don't think in a digital option, they would carry that over. They don't carry it over to their Facebook. Show me one person's Facebook that has a picture of them right after they woke up. And Evan, you don't count, don't do it. But show me one person's Facebook where they're looking rough and rugged. Nope. It's the cultivated image. I've seen those Instagram girls. I promise they don't look like that.
Yeah.
That's photo number 474 of 10,000.
And it's been touched up.
All right. So.
Oh yeah.
All right. So here's that. There we go. All right. So this is where it gets really.
I'll be right back.
I'm gonna pull them for. Okay.
So then, do you enhance? Is this the upgraded Chris? Is this the Chris that Chris envisioned himself to always be?
So that's the interesting point. I mean, well, again, okay. So here's the thing. Let's take that a step backwards for a second. Digital version of me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to care about what I look like because I don't look like anything. I mean, digital.
Yes, you will. I need an ocular. You're going to interact with the real world or only the digital world?
No, that's a good.
Well, because if you don't have an ocular representation of yourself, then the humans will dislike you automatically, and you will not be treated as a human. You'll be treated as a machine. Your physical appearance matters to those still breathing, for right or for wrong.
That's an interesting one. I gotta be honest, hadn't gone down that route yet. To me, I was
No. If I can't see you, you're the lady on the phone that goes, to speak to customer service, say customer service. Right? And I hate that. I just yell at it. Agent, operator, give me a fucking human being. Right? So if you're replicating the human experience, then you also then have to replicate the appearance side. And then do you represent it authentically, or do you start adding filters?
Well, that's an interesting one because I got to be honest, I hadn't thought about that. As far as I was concerned, as far as I was dealing with, pure digital.
Okay.
Because if I'm pure digital, I don't need.
And you're right, in the purely digital realm, unless you want to interface with other humans.
Right. At which point you get to like Ready Player One kind of mentality. You're drinking, it's actually making me think I fancy some anymore. I mean, that's
Eagle Rare, my friend. Eagle Rare.
Oh, nice.
A gift given to me by a wonderful young man who I visited with today. Reached out to me, said he had heard me talk at an event. And he's a young guy, just graduated cyber program, wants to do something in this world. And so he wanted to pick my brain, invited me out to join him. I ended up hanging out with him and his family. It was wonderful, amazing people.
Yeah.
And you know what I found, Chris? I found a young guy who's fired up to lift up somebody else, who's fired up to make the world a slightly better place than it is today, and is just trying to find his way in that.
Oh, that's totally cool.
That was super awesome. Oh, it was a great
That's actually pretty cool. Yeah. That's
highlight of the last couple months. It was nice.
Yeah. That's when
well, that's why I make the time, because when you find somebody and this guy has nothing but potential for days. Right. And of course, like everybody, I'm like, what do you want to do? Oh, I want to get on the red team, but everybody tells me that's like the hardest thing in the world to do. And I said, well, if you really want to work on the red team, you go get the NSA scholarship.
Yeah.
Go. You'll red team all day, buddy. That's all you'll do. You're fine. You'll love it.
And then you'll be like, okay, I'm done. I need to go play
Right.
with something else now. Yeah, because
But you will have a guaranteed whatever job you want from that moment forward. It's a sacrifice to play the game, but you play the game, you get the chip, and the chip takes you a lot of places.
All right. So, truth be told, hadn't thought about the physical form, like in any way, shape, or form. Had not. Now, let's be honest.
Okay. So I'm gonna go here. If you can pull this off, there needs to be some kind of physical form. And if my dear lovely wife was to pass, if you could reproduce her at about 20 in a physical form that I can interact with.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Right? Well, because that's where people take this shit.
Well, that's
my wife didn't die. She just came back as her 20-year-old robot.
No, and that's where, okay, so now here's the thing. You're going digital back to physical.
Yes, because I'm a human and I need
but I don't
physical.
Want to do that. No, why? I don't want to do that. Why go back?
Because it ain't about you. Because if a digital you exists, guess what? And your spouse is still here. You think if she has the option to cuddle you, she'll pass?
But it's not going to be physically. I honestly, that is actually where I think that's where I
think about that though.
No, I'm not disputing that, but that's where I've got to be honest. I do draw the line. I'm not going there. I don't want the robotic route. Here's the reason why. Okay, now
well, what happens when I hack you and I put you in one because I want to hang out with you? What happens when I download your essence off the web?
You're downloading a copy. Think about it. We're in the digital realm. At that point,
no. I'm going to download you, and then I'll put you in the robot so that we can sit by your side and have a whiskey. What are you going to do then?
You've downloaded a version of me. Because again, think about it. Digital realm. Same rules
apply. No, I took the whole data set.
No, you didn't. I'm all over the freaking place. I'm not in that AS400. I'm not staying there.
Fine. It doesn't matter. I build my net to catch your bits as they flow through. I'll hijack BGP and grab you from there.
What the fuck is happening?
All right. Take it a different direction for a second. And I alluded to this in the post. I'm intrigued to a point as to how this terrestrial planet goes. What I'm more intrigued about is what the smeg is out there. If I am a digital signal, and let's face it, if I'm ones and zeros, I am nothing more than a digital signal.
Yeah.
Then I have no boundaries.
So what happens when I infect your ones and zeros and add my own? And now you don't speak with an English accent, you speak with an Asian accent.
So you didn't create a Chris, you created a version of Chris.
Correct. To your point earlier, a emulation, a rough approximation of the authentic thing.
Yeah, no, totally. I'm
and I think it'd be really rough because I was just thinking, I went to the bathroom and here there's a bar, right? And so you got a bunch of drunks sitting out there doing whatever the fuck drunks do. I was like, how would you account for addiction in your algorithm? Because that's kind of fucked up.
To Ryan's point, at that point in time, okay, and what am I going to get addicted to? If I'm in the digital realm, what am I getting addicted to?
Ones and zeros, baby. They're the best.
But that's what I'm saying.
One's free.
But that's what I'm saying. It's a version of you. It's not you. So you wouldn't live on. You would on.
Yeah, no, the physical me wouldn't. And so back to this looking in the mirror thing. So you're right. This done. Bye-bye, pushing up daisies, worm food, whatever it's going to be. Okay? Digital version of me does continue to live on.
So the digital version of you doesn't have addiction.
It doesn't.
Digital version's an MP3 of Chris. Come over and listen to the MP3 and listen to the vinyl. They are vastly different experiences.
I'm not going to disagree. But
can Chris make an MP3 version of Chris? I wholeheartedly believe that is highly achievable.
Right.
I honestly, no, I shouldn't challenge people to this. Never mind. Okay, take the shit show episodes and deep fake Chris. Now you're halfway to a digital Chris.
but you're only halfway based off of.
I get that, but you're working on the other half. So you combine the two and
believe me,
ta-da, we got a digital
working on a
Chris.
lot more. Yeah.
Somebody
So
deep fake him saying he should be in a hoodie, and what he should be saying is, "I endorse blinky lights."
Hacker.
Yep, I endorse blinky lights, and all
embrace,
hackers are criminals. That's what you make them say.
I embrace Clam Strike and Dark Trace.
Dark Trace, didn't they just go public on the London exchange this week?
I don't know. I give up. Who the hell just got bought for some stupid? Oh, do you see Yahoo changed hands again? Verizon's like, fuck off.
Is it just they need to die? What do they do? Why are they still alive?
I still have Yahoo again. Don't do that. I have
you have Netscape as well.
Netscape is still alive.
Hush. And AOL.
Yep, you can still do AOL Messenger if you want.
Yeah.
Who wants to do that? It was bad when it came out, and it's worse now.
You keep an account. I actually found it.
Chris, ASL. That's all I got to say to you. ASL.
I'm thinking about kicking up MySpace again.
Actually, that's now in vogue. Yeah, that's a thing now.
You saw that we kicked off the community on last Friday.
I did.
Yeah.
So as part of kicking off the community last Friday, I've made a promise, and I'm actually going to stick to it. I haven't had a chance to do anything about it yet, but I made a promise that we would actually do a bulletin board. So we've got the, whatever we've called it, the leaders. Hang on, it's on here.
BBS, can I dial into it, or is it just virtual?
Both. You're going to be able to dial into
really?
it.
You're gonna actually I'm gonna have to go find a phone line somewhere?
You don't have to. So we're going to do a couple of different ways. You can dial in, which means I've got to get a modem bank set up, and I know exactly where I'm going to pull one from. So yes, and also we're also going to have this. You can emulate it as well. But yeah,
US Robotics. Tell me it's US Robotics.
I'm not telling you what it is.
3Com.
US Robotics.
3Com.
You want 3Com? You like 3Com better?
I might have done some stuff on behalf of some people in 3Com stuff that gave us the back doors that we needed 25 years ago. Well, shit, 26. Yeah, a few years ago. We'll just leave it at that, shall we?
Mm-hmm. So back to, if I create a digital version of somebody, then it's not a genuine somebody.
Correct. Just
What makes it what makes it genuine?
Well, me.
Breathing.
Yeah. What is you?
This is me.
Breathing.
Yeah.
So if you create a version
No,
me,
I do not agree with breathing. I do not agree with breathing.
Okay, no. If you create a digital version of me, it's not me.
Why not?
No nuance.
It doesn't do the same things as I do.
No analog.
There's
no peaks.
Digital,
I'm an addict.
fungible stuff is being bought, sold, and traded. As
I don't give a shit about your fungible, non-fungible. Kiss my ass with that shit. It's a fad. Peaks, no peaks.
It'll have them.
Nope, it can't.
If I can get granular enough,
squares.
I'll get granular enough.
Chris, basic geometry. Peaks aren't squares.
No, but in this sense, is everything that
two angles doesn't make for two straight lines. It's geometry. You can't do it.
Yes, I can.
Because if they could, they would have. Are you kidding me? If they could actually reproduce analog audio in its full digital capacity, you're telling me they wouldn't do it? There's guys like me that would pay a fucking fortune for that. But they can't do it, which is why I have a 1972 Technics turntable that runs on a belt and a manual motor.
I can get fucking close.
And it sounds better than anything else in my audio collection, including my state-of-the-art freaking noise canceling supercharged headphones.
Woolly ears.
They can't get within 1,000 feet of it. Because nuance. I don't think you can't digitally do nuance.
I can build in and digitally reproduce a reasonable amount of nuance.
Reasonable amount isn't equal to the same.
True, it's different.
90% ain't 100.
It's true.
And I think it's that last 0.5% that makes all the difference.
Well, it's deviations, right? I mean, a slight deviation here is what over there?
We learn this in shooting. If you're a shooter, you will understand that 1 inch off at gunpoint,
Oh yeah.
depending on distance of range,
one fucking, yeah.
1 breath off, right? Are you on the inhale? Oh, son, you fucked up. Don't do it on the inhale. Right? Makes all the difference in the world.
Right. So what you can emulate is things that you can observe, right? I think you can emulate, little quirk, the way I, maybe move a little bit, things like that. But the things that happen inside of me are very, very difficult, especially when you do talk about the nuance, the randomness, when you talk about things like emotions and intuition, addiction. I mean, all kinds of things are always fighting in here in my brain that I don't think you can replicate. it.
I'll go even simpler. Replicate the feeling I get when I see my wife walk in the room. If you can replicate that.
Digital signals. I can replicate that.
Nope. There's something else going on there, bro. That's a whole body experience. That's a different.
You don't have a body anymore. Get out of the body thing. You are nothing more than ones and zeros. I can replicate.
I don't know about you, but I like the one I got right now. Like, it may be unchristian to me, but I do enjoy certain aspects of having flesh. So if you're gonna take that away from me, I don't know if life's worth living.
How many of your inputs come from your body?
How much influence comes from my body? Quite a bit.
Oh, at the moment, it's a ton. Yeah, I mean, if you the sensory architecture, I mean, the entire sensory system, replicating, don't even go there, because I mean, we got 86 billion up here to deal with. The rest of the fucking sensory system, don't even get me started on the complexities of that. They're just fucking ridiculous. Now, that goes back to how far are we away from doing this? I mean, to Ryan's point, we still haven't figured out a large chunk of the brain, let alone the influences the rest of our system has on brain and how much is done here without even this getting involved. That's the other scary part about it as well, is so much stuff doesn't even get to here. It's handled elsewhere.
Well, no, it's handled here, but it's handled in this tiny little spot. So, I talk about analog humans. I want to talk about primal for a second, because really what you're describing now is the.
I get to take off my clothes.
You might have to. There's 2 parts of the brain. There's the enlightened part and the primal part. There's a reason we have a law for crime of passion. And it's because a long time ago, we recognized that there are certain situations that trigger a part of the brain that bypass logic, reason. You walk in, your spouse is doing something they shouldn't be doing. You might feel a certain kind of way about that. You might make a choice in that moment to do something about that. And you might find yourself standing before a judge later.
Right.
And they actually make exceptions for crimes of passion. You still get a slap on the wrist, hey, no, we don't do that. But we understand how you found yourself unable to stop yourself. And therefore we take that into account. So there's even a legal recognition of the fact that there's 2 systems to the human brain. And the primal side is where I would say probably 60% or more of our living occurs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Non-conscious, call it subconscious. I believe subconscious is part of that primal ecosystem, right? But it's those feelings. I think that's where intuition lives. I think where that feeling that you get when the situation's going south. I think the feeling you get when the person you care about walks into a room. I think all of that stuff resides in that primal sector. And we barely understand it.
No, I don't disagree. And that's part of the reason I've got the system that records me on a semi-regular basis. It's because I want to know what it's doing while I'm doing other things. I want to know what it's thinking. I want to know why I trigger on certain food or certain systems or certain whatever it might be. Hey, I just sent you about analog model synthesizers. So
I see that. I see what you're trying to do here.
Hey, what the hell? He's here.
But synthesizer, right?
that modeling.
So
modeling.
to synthesize,
yes.
Is to what? What is our definition of synthesize?
Analog modeling synthesizes simulate the behavior of the original electronic
simulate,
circuit.
Yes.
Replicate.
It reproduces closely, but however not fully.
Replicate. The word replicates in there as well.
Yes, but not fully.
Not
fully. It's still synthetic.
okay. Now we are getting down to microns at this point in time, and I'm
what's the definition of synthetic, Chris?
I know it's the replica. I get it.
Google a proportion having truth or falsity determinable by recourse to expertise. A synthetic material or chemical, a substance made by chemical synthesis to imitate a natural product. Imitate.
I'm fine with that. No, hey, I get it. But okay, so all right, so take that next step. I can imitate until I can take over. Because at some point, again, the squishy thing's going away. It's got a shelf life, let's be honest. And at some point, you turn the mirror around and that's sitting on the computer screen needs to go, I got you covered, I'm taking over. And it keeps going.
Now, I think you can get, I mean, I don't know.
I don't know how close we can get. I just don't. But I'm intrigued because, again, to Ryan's point, you're right. At the moment, we are blocks. You know, it's like there's a beautiful curve on the analog and the digital is this bunch of fucking blocks. I will absolutely concede that 100%. But to me, this is no different than exactly what we've seen with screen technology. It's the same thing. We've seen it. We've watched it. We've gone from this.
Our eyes suck. As human beings, our eyes
Won't disagree.
So they are easily fooled. So that is your suggestion of the comparative that you're using.
But we have refined it down to microns. And then literally we are literally splitting microns. You think about processors, same thing. IBM just announced last couple of days that they're now at 2 microns. Oh my God, that's awesome. They're now at 2 microns. That's microchipping. Oh shit, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That is beautiful.
Can you send me that? I need to give that to my wife, who's going to show it to her mom this weekend when I'm at the garage fixing my dad's truck because I want no part of this shit.
I want a copy of that too.
Now, please text that up.
That is awesome. That is just fucking brilliant. All right. Yeah.
Timely this week too.
Oh yeah.
That's just too good. That's just too good.
Freaking timing on that one.
That's too good. Hats off to whoever created that. Thank you for bringing joy into my day.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'll take that one as well. That's beautiful. Jeez,
but there you go. So wit, humor.
Yeah.
What's the algorithm for wit and humor?
It's there. It's already partially there. It's already, again, it's blocks, not refined.
Okay. So do you truly believe that you can make enough tiny blocks to effectively reproduce a peak well enough that it will bypass the filters of the human existence?
I don't know. I just don't know. I want to see how close we can get. I would
without going too far back and touching on certain things, there may or may not be confirmed nor denied technologies that one could apply that potentially could help bridge that gap.
Yes, potentially.
Because that's the only way that I legitimately think that you could get within a fucking stone's throw of that goal.
Totally.
Is that there has to be the squishy component present. That the squishy component plays such a critical role in the overall existence and experience that the absence of prevents, because the blockiness will never be an LP. I'm sorry, an MP3 is never going to be a vinyl.
I will never say never. This is the one fun thing I love about doing this stuff is I'll never say never. I love the brick wall. As much as I hate running into brick walls, I actually enjoy running into brick walls.
I say never to encourage people like you to prove me wrong.
And that's it. I'll run at the brick wall and I'll see if I can get through it, or I'll be like, okay, we're done. This is with what we know today. This is as far as we can go today. Right. That's it. Now let's pivot. Now let's see where we can go. Back to your point. I want to do it without the squishy brain, because to me that squishy brain again has a finite lifespan. I've got a shelf.
It does. It has to be fed and kept alive.
All sorts of things. And I don't want to have to do that. I don't want to have to do that. Back to your thing. We've got 7.5 billion of us on this planet. How about we actually, I don't know, virtualize 3/4 of us?
Okay, but I go back to something I said earlier. Should we?
Virtualize, fix.
I don't want certain elements of this world to continue on indefinitely. Like that's
okay. So maybe we get to choose. Now that gets really
dude, that's a fun one. Take the test.
Unpack that.
We can't even get that shit right for politicians, and you're trying to get it right for eternal life.
I'm getting more liquid.
This is a fun one.
This is a fun. Yep.
What do you think, audience? You having a hoot?
Hoot. No, it's cool listening to you guys talk about this, because, you know, it's analog and digital, man. You know, how do you take one from the other? And you can't even replicate all that well what you don't understand.
We aren't
right.
doing
You
the
can
greatest
replicate
job
what
today.
you can replicate what you observe, right? I've seen these things, and those are characteristics that I can replicate, and I can mathematically recreate. What I can't are the things I don't understand. I don't understand the cause of so many of these things that happen. Like, I don't know why I get pissed off when this happens, or when I get, you know, happy or angry. These emotions that happen, and they influence my decisions. So underneath the covers, you see all these things. You see what you see, but what you don't see is why you see what you see. It's the thing when we talked about micro expressions. You mentioned micro expressions. Paul Ekman did tons of research on this. It's awesome. If you're a social engineer and you want to learn this shit, go look for Paul Ekman, Ekman. And so we have these micro expressions that are involuntary. You can't control them, cross culture, right? Everybody has them. And one of the common mistakes that social engineers who can read micro expressions make is under thinking that they know why you just had that micro expression, right? So contempt is a really popular one. It's where, you know, it happens in a second. You know, your lip will raise really quick. And so I may be talking to you about something, right? And interpret that you just had this micro expression. You showed contempt, like, you showing that shit to me? No, maybe, right? But maybe they just thought about, you know, an argument they had with their, you know, that thought popped into their head, right? Mm-hmm. So you don't know, you saw what you saw, you observed what you observed, but what you don't know is the cause of what you observed.
Correct.
Right? So if you're going to replicate things, you better know the cause, how these things actually work. And one of the dangers here, I think, when we create these mathematical algorithms, these AI things, is we think we know more than what we know, right? And so you build bias into the algorithm at the very beginning, because you're making conclusions that you don't understand, right? And
I agree.
Leads to the rest of the algorithm, it just leads to shitty conclusions.
And I'll go this with you. So the couple times we have created a learning AI, right? That was truly a learning AI. And we said, here, have the internet. Go learn something. And these are proven things. This has happened. Facebook did it. Microsoft did it, right? We know the stories, right? What happens? What happens? How many days does it take before they have to unplug it? Because it has become the worst thing ever. We plug it into the internet and say,
fucking language.
Go learn. And it comes back and it goes, I'm racist and hateful, and I want the world to burn, and everyone should die, and I need to be in charge. That has happened every single time we've ever plugged that shit in and said, here AI, here's natural language processing, here's
Right.
deep learning, here's all this fancy shit. Now go forth, young child, and pick some stuff up from the big knowledge database. And literally, what is it? I think the shortest time was 1 day and the longest time was 3 days before it was literally the worst thing ever, where like Hitler was blushing, like, wow. Yeah. I mean,
all right.
You went there?
But hang on, but we don't do that in real life. Why the fuck? I mean, this is my problem.
Oh, because of that whole squishy thing, that soul thing, that thing that makes you know that shit ain't right because you built a certain way by a certain person.
Make it go away. It's shelf life. Make it go away. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye, squishy.
I don't think you can. I think if you did, you'd be unhappy. I think if you disconnected from it in a way other than, and this is my belief, but other than the creator intended, I think you would find yourself quite miserable.
All right. So here.
Well, if you're going to get away with it, what it is you created a digital version of it, but we've shown that the digital version of it isn't it.
But is it a different it? It's a new it. It's an evolutionary step. Go back to your creator. Okay, let's go back to your creator for a second. Okay, let's just take a quick step back on your creator. If your creator had sat there with his burning bush and said, hey, by the way, in about 2,500 years or so, give or take a bit, you are going to evolve into something that's silicon carbon based. By the way, the shit that you're actually standing on is actually going to be the stuff that tells you what to do. They'd have thought he was completely nuts, smoking more mushrooms than they did before when he came down from the damn mountain with this kind of tablets, and said, go back up there and learn again. So I don't believe we were ready to understand that next step in evolution at that point in time. Now we're here. Why isn't the digital creator going, hey, I've just given you all this fucking inspiration for you to make this next leap. Get the fuck on with it.
Oh, it's this thing called, good and evil, right? I mean, if you want to go there, the belief is the ruler of this world is Satan, right? There's bad things. Right. And so those things will influence and take us all kinds of weird fucking places. And that's called the great deceiver.
Okay. Now, not going to dispute, again, to your point, go in that direction. Yeah. But here's the interesting part about this one. We're not talking about leaving everything into this world. This is where we go to the analog digital side of the world. This is where you start taking a look and going, okay, if I can make myself into a set of ones and zeros, the possibilities are endless. We start looking at how we already know that we can screw with physics with ones and zeros. We already know that we can go halfway across the universe with ones and zeros. We already know the crazy things we can do with ones and zeros. So who's to say that this isn't that way to get there?
Because it's too rigid. It doesn't fit. I'm not a 1 or a 0. I'm a 0.0 something star squared.
Totally. But that's all you're now doing is all you've done is you've just taken that 1 and 0 and just drilled down and down and down and down and down and down a little bit further to it. That's as we did with the blocks versus your beautiful curve. We just drilled down and down and down and down into it.
I know, but it's not to date. It's not an accurate representation. It just doesn't do it. It's not the same thing.
Totally cannot disagree with you. But that's us.
Okay, all right. Oh, so let's wait. I want to take this a different direction because it is the security shit show, and we got about 15 minutes to midnight. So let's talk security for a second. So, okay, fine. You succeed in doing this. Fan-fucking-tastic. You have cloned yourself into a 100% accurate reproduction of Chris, including your flatulence. Now, how the fuck do you keep that safe?
Good luck on that.
How do you prevent me from polluting your memories, polluting your emotions, because I'm gonna go ahead and say, as soon as you're online, I'm trying to get a copy. I'm trying to figure out what I can do with it.
Absolutely.
How the hell then? So let's go head on into dystopia. How the hell do you even begin to protect that?
I know how to begin to protect it, again, with the technologies and the basic concepts that we have today. The ability to look at data and go, I can look at data effectively and go, I can lock that into some degree and know that if I look at it 24 hours later, whether it's changed or not changed. I have the ability to do that today.
Unless you've got SolarWinds on the machine that's hosting the data. But tell me more.
Or Windows.
Or Windows.
Yeah, no shit, right?
Yeah.
Or Linux. Or Linux. Let's not forget that they're getting their ass handed to them right now. Thank you, University of Minnesota.
Ah, no shit. Yeah, well, Mac is as well. Let's face it, they just went whoops.
Well, but Mac, come on now. Linux part fucking jobs, right? It's Linux.jobs. That's what your stupid Mac OS is. Stupid OS.
Are we feeling a little?
Well, that's it, man.
I don't like the apples.
We can't even get Notepad secure.
No. There's an update for it. Have you guys seen this? Are you guys aware of this?
Who's gonna patch you, Chris?
Oh, I don't know. And so believe me, this is where I gotta be honest. That's my part argument against this. This is my argument against me doing this. Is we in almost 30 years haven't figured out passwords. God forbid that we put ourselves in a. Fuck.
We already did that with the cell phones, and look how that's working out.
Yeah, there's what? How many billions of them? We'll be fine.
So, hey guys, if you don't know, there's a new bug out there that prompts you to update Notepad. It may be a Microsoft feature. It may be a bug. I have not confirmed either one, but I know it exists and it's out there floating around.
Oh, no. Okay.
Yep. There's a little pop-up that says you have a new version of Notepad. Please click here to upgrade.
Oh, that's mean. I like that, but that's mean. That's beautiful. That's cutest. No, it's tough because okay, we know today if I put a single piece of data out there that I can.
It's gone. It's gone. I already got it. Thanks.
No, I know. I don't have a good answer. Actually, John's actually talking to me offline. He's like, a read-only copy, but that's only as good as where you put it.
I don't give a shit if you go with an immutable copy. I'll overwrite you. I'll ransom you. Now what are you going to do? I've ransomed you.
I don't know if I cloned myself. Goodness knows only what and where and how. I don't have the answers.
So here's my
But really quick, I would encourage you not to stop.
Correct.
Pursue this.
Oh, I'm not going to
absolutely 100% pursue this.
Oh, I'm
because no matter how much shit no matter how much I believe you can't do it, no matter how I think this is not going to end well, fucking go for it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
This is why we call it. This is why I had the Lawnmower Man at the very end of this, because I am. If nothing else, I am that realist that goes, hey, I'm going to aim up here and I know I'm going to run into every single brick wall along the way. No two ways about it. And I have no clue if we'll get through them or not. I absolutely don't know. But I'm really intrigued on the journey. Well,
I want you to do this because I want to be part of the patent later when you get close enough to the goalpost that you can create a digital me to take my meetings. Like this is going to happen. Yeah. You're going to do this. No. I know for a fact in my heart of hearts, I'm calling it out today. What is it? May 6, 2021 at 11:46 p.m. Central Standard Time, daylight time. Chris will, within the next 5 years, produce something good enough to sit in to that boring ass Zoom call for you and nobody's going to know it wasn't you. Right. And I'm looking forward to that. I want to be part of that. Let me know. We'll file the patents together. We'll get it trademarked. It'll be great. I love it. Right? So I do believe you will absolutely hit that goal without a doubt. What becomes interesting is where that goes after that goal. Because I think that goal is very achievable. So then where does it, how do you grow that past that to be vulnerable? Like, and when you get to that, let me know. Let's do vulnerability programming together.
860. Hold off the release for 861 days, please.
No, you need an extra couple of days to get anything that you've got in digital currency or in the bank out.
Right.
Put it in the mattress.
865 days. I should be able to do that in 4. 865 days, please.
Oh man, it's going to be interesting. I'm really, because you're right. There's some, and we talked about it. I mean, the physical. I hadn't even thought about that. To me, I literally was planning on ones and zeros, and I was just going to wander my way around the internet just to see what was going on. I had no intentions of the actual mirror version of me. But I'm intrigued because you're right. Just purely from an interaction standpoint,
you have to have that component if you want to interface with the other humans. Now, if you just want to scrape websites, there's a page I'd like to introduce you to called the Wayback Machine.
oh, I love that. So miss that. Well, I miss
Okay.
it. So like it. Yeah.
But
No.
you know, it's if you want to have the human side of interface and continue to try to develop and interact with human relationships, you will absolutely have to have some type of, at the very minimum, a digital physical representation. But that tech's out there. It's called deepfake. We got it.
Yeah, we got a few versions of that one floating around. Yeah, the algorithms behind that stuff I'm working on basically, which is total fun. But it is interesting. Yeah, it's and if again, the whole logic for dropping a bunch of things that I've been working on is so that I can actually spend some time on this one. Well, that and the Dave Mark II stuff, but yeah, between the two of them, got a bit more time to spend on this, which is kind of what I'm enjoying doing.
Cool shit, man.
I think it's sweet, man. Seriously, like, kudos to you for even pursuing an idea like that. It's
because it's intriguing to me. It goes back to that path and that idea, you know, and a lot of it, quite honestly, it is a level of frustration that, you know, this has a shelf life. No two ways about it. Now, it's less about being at peace with that decision, about any kind of anything else to me. It's purely, I really want to see what happens. And I'd like to see it through these eyes as opposed to in like the next step, you know, Evan, to your point, being comfortable knowing what that next step is. I totally get it. I mean, there's a point of, there's been a few points where I'm like, okay, I'm ready to figure out what the hell's next, literally, or possibly, yeah, whatever. I'm ready to figure out what's next, you know. But there's also a huge part of me that sees the potential in what we're doing here and either wants to hit a fast forward button, to be perfectly honest, just to see what the heck's going on, or wants to at least be around sufficiently enough to actually see what's going on, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think,
hey,
you know,
did Jason make that for you, by the way? I've been looking in your background behind you.
Which one?
That painting. Did Jason make that for you?
No, this is Eddie. That's Eddie's artwork.
Okay.
Yeah, Eddie Mize. That's his. In fact, I think, yeah, that's an Eddie one. Yeah, I know Jason uses that stuff as well. Yeah, that's an Eddie Mize one.
That's cool.
Sorry, ADD.
No, totally get it. I've got
watching over his shoulder. I'm like, is that Jason's stuff?
Yeah, no, Eddie did that one, and that's in front of the very, very nice headphones that every now and again I need to plug those back in and just sit and listen to them rather than just sit and go, oh, they're really nice. I'm going to use them. Yeah, no, it's back to the security side of it. I mean, that's, to be honest, that's one aspect I am acutely aware of. And I do not have a solution for it. I mean, I really, really don't, because
put in a robot.
Well, no, I don't want a robot. I don't want a physical presence. I'm fighting against it.
Yeah, you will. Why not? How you gonna go to Starbucks?
I don't want fucking Starbucks. I'm done.
Of all the things you choose Starbucks.
I just, you know, I figured, what the fuck, right?
I don't want Starbucks. And again, to me, that's one of the, so this is one of those.
How you gonna drive the boss?
I'm not gonna. But what I can do, listen, and this is where we're gonna get back to your recording again. What I can do is, if I know what the feelings and sensations are of driving that boss, because I've pulled that data out before, how much can I replay that and go, I like that, I'm good with that.
Interestingly enough, flip the coin for a second. So I did a VR flight simulator.
Oh, interesting.
And it was high quality, good stuff. Yeah. Fell out of the chair because of the vertigo.
Oh, yeah.
So I was able to fool the analog system
mm-hmm.
with digital inputs. That happened. There was I had every physiological sensation that you would expect to have during that experience.
Have you seen they've
while
used it?
sitting in my basement with a headset on?
Have you seen they've used it? I remember years. This is going back a long, long time. One of my ex number two was heavily into that stuff. You remember the old O2s, the Onyxes, and all this crazy stuff.
The old Oculus, yeah.
Yeah. They at that point tell me using some of that tech for for fear of heights, fear of spiders, all that stuff, and working out the physiological and trying to get people used to them. Yeah, the fact that stuff's come on that far is really intriguing.
It was a trip, man. It was cool. I loved it. It was a great experience, but like it hurt when I hit the concrete because I
have you bought a set of those things? Because
no. I have friends for that. I ain't got time for that shit. I like to play with it once in a while. So I have good friends who that's what they're into. So they come over with the state of the art, top of the line. Go, oh man, we got it all. This is the good stuff. I'm like, sweet. Let me check it out. And I put the goggles on and I'm sitting there and I'm doing the thing. I'm flying the plane. I'm like, I'm going to do a barrel roll. Right onto the floor. Just freaking dump right out of the chair. Yep. Because what happened was as I was doing the barrel roll, I went with it. Do y'all remember playing Nintendo? You would yank that controller around like it was doing something.
You go with
it. Yeah. Oh, jump, Mario, jump. Mario ain't jumping better because you moved the damn controller. Right. But you did it. And so it was the reverse of that. So instead of putting the output out, me being the output, I was now receiving the input. And I did. I leaned into the barrel roll and I leaned into it like I would if I was in a real plane. And before I was dumped right out of the chair. Son of a bitch. And it scared me to death because I was in an airplane.
Yeah.
Like my visual, senses were like, you are high in the sky. And so when I hit the ground, there was that like psychological disconnect. Like you're not supposed to be touching the ground right now. Like this is, it was a really interesting experience.
Wow.
Liking this.
Try it sometime. Seriously, try a modern VR set right now and do a flight simulator. Okay. Tell me if you don't get butterflies in your tummy.
I've looked at the new ones a number of times.
They're pretty sweet.
Yeah, again, to your point, it's one of those things. So Jen was amazing. Not this past Christmas, the previous one, she bought me one of the Nintendo Switches. I've probably used it maybe half a dozen times in the last year and a half. I actually ended up plugging it into the little handset thing into the back of the TV and used it like twice there. I feel bad because I just don't use it. For me, it was one of those like, she was absolutely amazing because I was looking at them like, it'd be kind of cool. And it was like, it gets used less than once in a blue moon, unfortunately. And I got a feeling one of those Oculus, buggers are expensive. And I'm like, I don't want one, but it'd be fun to just play with one every now and again.
Yeah. So I have friends, when you come to town, I'll give you the VR experience of your life.
Now, what are they? Sorry, we're scrolling and I know it's getting close.
All of them. Like, just come to town. It's all good, dude. You name it, it's available. It's the PlayStation 1, it's the Oculus, it's the HTC, it's all the whole flipping deal. This is what they do. They enjoy what they do. Come to town. Have good friends. I'll give you an experience. And Evan, if you ever want to do it, man, just come on down. I got it all. It's a phone call away.
Dude, I'm one of those guys that I live kind of not in want, right? I'm content, It's good to be kind of there, a lot of this shit. I mean, I like when people do shit like this. I love when they go do things. I got no problem with it, but I like what I do. I mean, I like my thing. I got my Harley, I got my pickup truck, I got my gun, I got my wife, I got a house, I got 2 dogs. I'm
Country
good.
Song by Evan Francine.
No, I mean, but that's one of those keys to happiness, I think, in life is being content.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I love what I got, man. I value what I got. I don't take that shit for granted. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying you do. I don't want it to be like judgmental of anybody. It's just, I'm not looking for another experience. The experiences I got, I love. I love making love to my wife. It's that kind of shit. It's like, things are good. But, I got no problem with that. But, to the same kind of point, I'd like the simple shit more. I mean, I think the older I get, it's weird because I was always such a techie. I mean, I was so deep into shit, you know, all the time. And the older I get, the more I'm starting to dislike technology. The more I like being connected, the more I like walks, you know, in the woods, you know, or riding the motorcycle, or just getting the fuck away from this shit. You know what I mean? Because the thing goes so fucking fast. You know, we're talking about shit and we don't understand what we're actually fucking doing. You know, and so that part where I'm like, yeah, I'm cool, man. You know what I mean? I don't need to fall in the concrete. I'm good.
It hurt. It did hurt. It happened. It was not that the falling part sucked. The rest of it was pretty awesome.
Right. Because I'd like us as just kind of a society to slow down a little bit. Think about the consequences of the decision making. Think, you know, I just read this morning, you know, IBM in a test lab, just got a 2 nanometer chip to work in a test lab. It's like, fuck, really?
Oh yeah.
I mean, they're in trouble working on the 7 nanometer ones they got now, right? Not everybody can make those. So you're telling me I can get 4 fucking days on one charge on this phone? Shit. And then the other part of me is like, I don't need fucking 4 days charge on this fucking phone. I spend too much time on this fucking phone as it is. Sorry, you know. So I'm kind of like, I wonder if that's where I'm going, you know, in this age of, you know, 50 years old. I've bought a really fucking cool shit. I made a difference in some people's lives. It's like, I'm kind of cool with getting disconnected now. So I think I'm on that kind of ride now. I don't know. It's weird.
Oh, I get it, dude. That's why I blacksmith and weld. There's literally no further place away you can get from tech than doing blacksmithing.
No, totally.
Right. So I totally get it. I do. And that's a battle. I don't know, Chris, do you suffer from that? Because I have the entire time I've been in tech. I actually avoided tech as a career option for years.
Yeah.
Like purposely avoided it. I'm like, nah, it's cool. I'll drive a truck. Yeah, but you know how to program a computer. Yeah, I also know how to fix a sink. You don't see me being a plumber. Right? Like, it just was.
Phases. I go through phases. I think I go through phases and I think part of it is also projects. I'm crazily inquisitive. I am one of those people. If I found the button that's the end of the world button, I would be the one that pressed it and went, whoops. That would be the last thing everybody would hear. Like, hey, oops. You know, that's.
Look, Chris found the button. Oh shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's part of why I don't want him to be a digital guy either. Like, I'm like, man, you're dangerous enough as an analog. I don't really need you roaming the fucking internet.
But that's trouble. But on one hand, I'm that, and on the other hand, I mean, you guys have seen the weight loss kind of stuff I've put over the last 13, 14 weeks. Even before then, for like probably the last year, 2, I've struggled to try and find what I wanted to do to get away from like an exercise standpoint, or even just get the hell away. I've had the bike. I set the bike up like behind the screen. The bike's been fucking sitting there looking at me for the last 5, 6 months. Tires have gone flat twice, pumped them up twice. Haven't gone on it once for like 2 minutes.
You ever having a Peloton?
No, this is it's my bike on a fluid trainer. It's one of my road bikes from years ago on a fluid trainer. And so, and I didn't want to do that. And I've been trying to find it. Now I've gone back to something I've done for donkey's years and I'd literally forgotten about, which is climbing. So Jen found a gym. She's like, hey, there's one pretty close by. And so I went to it a couple of weeks ago. I went, okay, this is kind of cool, kind of scared to get back into it, to be honest, because, you know, it's full of freaking 20, 25-year-old kids who are nothing more than bloody jungle bunnies in latex and spandex bouncing up and down this fucking thing like nobody's business. Guess what? 50-year-old bloody old codger comes in and is like, well, so fuck it. Last week I went in, got a membership. So cold, hard money was paid out by me. At which point I'm like, all right, you get your ass in. So I've been going along at night. I went this evening before we came here, and I'm only going in for like 20 minutes, half an hour, just getting the body used to being stuck on a vertical surface and just moving and holding holds. I'm not even doing any climbing or any bouldering, really. I'm just glued onto the wall, remembering how to move, remembering what pivot points are, remembering what a fulcrum is, remembering physics, and actually honestly also on the hangboard, just doing fucking pull-ups and just hanging there doing chins to knees just to get the body back into the rhythm of going, hey. And so it's been nice for the last 2 weeks, and I'm going along. My phone actually comes in, but it's going to stay in the car, and I ignore the world for 30 minutes. And that's really nice to me because I don't even think about computing. And I did that. I escaped years ago when Michelle and I split up. Not Michelle, Dina and I split up. I went down to Bolivia, went climbing for 6 months, came back, it still sucked. So I went to Alaska and did Denali and shit for a couple of times. Yeah, so it's nice to get back into it.
What used to motivate me was technology. I really enjoyed the technology. I think what motivates me now is solving things. You know what I mean? It's the problem solving that really gets me up every morning.
Yeah.
Right? It's not the technology, because I could give I think technology a lot of times is the problem. You're using tools that you don't understand how the fuck to use. Why the hell are you using the damn tool? I mean, use logic, right?
Yeah.
So
but that's
kind of where I spend my time now.
So that's part of some of the logic on this one. I got to be honest. Back to Ryan's comment earlier, there's a lot of people on this planet. And how do we deal with it? How do we sustain it? Can we sustain it? Where are we going?
Quit living in tight groups and you can sustain it just fine. There's plenty of earth left. It's just everybody wants to live in the same 2.5 square miles.
But are we going?
Well, not just that, but the path we're heading, half of us are going to be gone in the next 10 years anyway.
Right. That's I'm like, okay, if I can offer a potential alternative that still allows for some level of quality, et cetera, should we? Or should we be stepping over the piles of bodies to get to the keyboard? Now, I keep advocating that, and everybody keeps telling me I'm a terrible person. So I'm giving you an alternative.
No, I've actually been, it's funny because I believe the more and more, you look at how you're going to solve these problems, the more and more you come to realize that you were probably right. Not that you don't still try as hard as you can to save as many people as you can, but this is not going to end well.
No.
Nope. I assure you, the day the solar flare hits, if it happens 20 years from now, you've got maybe 10% of the population that don't know what to do.
I was just talking about this today. I was talking about this with John. I was talking about people have lost the ability to think. You remember what it was like when I had to troubleshoot shit without Google. When I had to fix a computer without Google. When I had to figure out how a RAID array, how a SCSI card gets configured. You had to think, you had to learn, you had to master, you had to, whatever. And now everybody goes to Google, and now you can fix your car.
No, they don't. That's the problem.
No, but you can watch it. You can fix a car by watching a YouTube video.
Yep.
Take away the YouTube video, and you're fucked.
Yep. But here's the thing, Evan. They don't even watch the YouTube video. Yeah. Let's be honest, guys. The three of us have made more money by knowing how to type the question into the little magic box and push the button. I just can't even some days. How the fuck are you alive in 2021 and you have an open question about anything? Go to the Google machine. It has the answers. They might not be the best answers. They might not even be the right answers, but you won't get an answer.
Not answers, yeah. At least you've got a couple of pages to sift through to go, what do I trust? What do I not trust?
Wouldn't it be awesome? Wouldn't it be awesome if Google was honest with you and you typed a question and it says, I don't know.
I have Googled a few things that came up empty. I have asked a few questions of the machine that I got no response.
When? Document that shit. I want to see it.
I will. I got irrelevant ads and no actual answer. So the next time I do it, the next time I run into it, I'm going to screenshot it for you. I have Googled.
But it still give you answers. But it still give you answers. It still give you returns, right?
It gave me returns. It did not give me anything relevant to the search criteria.
Well, that's irrelevant. It gave you terms. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah,
you asked a question and it gave you something. Right.
It gave me ads. Absolutely.
So shout out to Chip. Did you see? And he's actually on the thing as well. I'm actually just pulling it up for a second. Did you see here? I'm actually going to put it up on the screen for a sec. Did you see this? It was
Oh, that's fantastic.
Unfucking believable. I sat there and I just curled up and laughed for a couple of minutes on this
fabulous.
One. Yeah.
Nice going, Chip.
Yeah, totally awesome.
Nice going.
Yeah.
I like it.
I need that on a shirt. Can I get that on a shirt, please?
We should kick our store back up again. You know, get some more shirt in there and do some more shit.
Yeah, this needs to be a shirt. Like seriously, guys. This like totally needs to be a shirt.
We'll do that. We'll hit Jeff up, see if he minds us making a shirt out of it.
Well, that reminds me, I still owe Tim a shirt. I got to go send him one. Fuck.
What, a shit show shirt?
Yeah, because he won.
Oh, he did. Yeah, that's right. He's the Jeopardy champ.
I'm a man of my word.
So I'd like to propose something. I was thinking about this the other day. I have an episode coming up. I think, Evan, you're next, and then I'm after you. But
yeah,
for the episode, I would like to do You Tell Me, and audience members will propose 5 minutes worth of topic that they want to discuss, and we'll give them an opportunity to say their piece. We'll give the rebuttal, and we'll move on to the next person in the group. What do you guys think?
I like it.
Run that one by me again. I got.
So the show would be called You Tell Me. So that's the episode name.
Yeah.
And what we do is the audience members in the chat propose a topic that they would like to discuss. We select said topic. We give them 5 minutes to make their argument. We then give our rebuttals and we move on to the next topic. Audience, what do you think? Put it in the chat. Is that something you would like to do?
That's an interesting one.
I'm just trying to, building off of what Evan did, right? This is inspiration from Evan. He did the Jeopardy. It was interactive. I thought we had a good time.
Oh yeah.
So I thought, why not do something else? So if those of you in the chat have any interest in that, let us know here. And if I don't see anybody type anything in, then we won't do it.
I love the idea. It's totally cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm cool, man. And looking at myself, I look really tired. I've been working too much.
Hey, you gotta be careful with that.
Did you drive down to that neck of the woods, or did you fly down?
Flew down. We flew down, but we flew early night, early yesterday. Early yesterday, and I was up late, hitting up on some. I have an Minnesota IT Blue Ribbon Commission meeting coming up on the 21st. And the Blue Ribbon Commission in the state of Minnesota makes recommendations to the governor to do stuff. And so the chair of that committee, anyway, that went late. And then I was like, oh, I got to hit up Michigan. I forgot I got to follow up with Michigan, Iowa. Who else was it? Nebraska,
Washington,
Idaho.
Yep.
So
Oregon's
it's funny
coming
soon. What they want me to talk to them about is what the state should be working on. And so I just fire back an answer. If I were to ask you, tell me the current state of information security in the state of Minnesota, what would you tell me? And he said, that's a good question, and you deserve an answer. That's where you need to go.
Yeah.
Stop buying shit, figure this shit out, and then go buy.
I'm hearing
pump the brakes on the purchase.
Hearing a long conversation about a digital measuring tape to try to figure some of that out. Yeah, I love that. That's totally cool.
Right.
Yeah.
What's a security inch? I got the answer. Do you?
Yeah, I like it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and use an inch. And that's the thing, right? If you have another inch that you want to use, fine. Use the inch.
No, that's called the centimeter, Evan. That's called the centimeter.
Whatever. But figure it out. The challenge is if you go and try to reinvent the wheel, you try to reinvent something that already exists. And I'm down here working with Iowa on this thing, then how do you communicate between Iowa and Minnesota? Right? Because at a higher level, how can you tell me if Iowa or Minnesota are more secure? Because someday we're going to need that answer too. Mm-hmm. So let's just get out ahead of this shit, get it solved, and move on.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I could preach all day on that. We're up on time. Chris,
Yeah,
this was fucking amazing.
Great topic, Chris.
thank you. This was fun. Thank you guys.
I love the way your brain works. Every time I get to talk with you, your brain is like fucking amazing. And I don't think there's any way in hell you're ever going to replicate that. So keep trying.
Working on it.
It's
Thank
too
you.
awesome, man.
No, it's fun. I enjoy these. These are refreshing and recharging, to be perfectly honest, and I thoroughly enjoy them because it also opens. Yeah, you guys know the idea. It's freaking awesome, and it's nice it's kind of cool to have everybody else along, just listening in and just kind of kicking their ideas. So no, I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody that hangs out with us.
Absolutely. It's humbling, to be honest.
If you guys don't mind, I was actually going to say this and I totally forgot about it. In the community stuff that we built, the Intersect Leaders community thing that we're building, I'm actually going to drop some stuff in there of us doing this, and I'm actually going to probably put something in there to say, hey, this is what we're doing, this is when it's on. So, because we've got about 160 people in there at the moment, we've got about another 700 or 800 that want to come in. So we've got like 1,000 waiting, which is freaking awesome. And the hope is we can put a decent voice behind that. And you guys obviously are part of that voice, a big freaking part of that voice. And I want to make sure that we use that freaking voice properly.
You're too kind, sir.
Too kind. This takes all of us. It's as simple as that.
Well, Ryan, I wanted to just give you a shout out too, man. You made some really fucking awesome arguments today. You know, I just loved it because it got me thinking about some new shit, like the thing between analog and when you talked about LPs and MP3s. I mean, it was like, fuck yeah, you're dead on. So beautiful arguments, man. I learned a lot.
Thanks, man. Well, I just, Chris put it out there and I texted y'all back. I'm like, all right, shit, you want to go here? We can do this. But it was so fun for me because I have been to this place mentally a couple of times. I have pondered these things. Unlike Chris, I haven't taken action on it, but I have absolutely played mental Olympics with myself going, so what the fuck is this whole thing? And do I come from space aliens and who is Jesus and what is God? And as I've navigated all that and tried to make heads and tails, I can't help but have science and logic in play, right? But even when I apply that, I still arrive at the same conclusion. So for me, this was just a hoot. I love this stuff, man. You two are some of the only people in my life, and I have a lot of amazing and great people in my life. And there's one other guy, I'm hoping he can make it to the shit show because I really want you guys to meet this guy who I feel we can have these discussions with respect, with courtesy. We can differ on opinions. And I always walk away feeling better for having had these conversations with new perspectives, with reinforcement of perspectives that I've already held. I mean, it's just such a cool thing. So, not to blush too much, but I do love you guys, and this is just a blast for me. So, and I'm excited. It's only a few more weeks, guys. We're gonna be in person.
Oh, I know.
We get high five and shit. It'll be awesome.
So looking forward to that shit.
Burnouts on my Harley.
Woo!
I gotta figure out what car.
I promise to only tip it over twice.
It's not like it hasn't been done before.
Oh dear. Yeah, it'll be fun. I'll talk to Jesse. We'll probably have the 4x4s or 2x4s, whatever those little 4-wheel things are. Freaking cool. I managed to tip one of those over, so we won't even go there. Thank you guys.
Gentlemen.
Love you guys. Have a great night.
Have a
great Friday.
Pleasure. Love you guys. Thanks to everybody for listening.
Travel safe, Ev.